In this video, we're going to be discussing dimensional analysis. Example number 1. Let's start with something very easy. All right. 312 grams equals how many kilograms? Okay, this is an example, but a very basic example. If you guys remember back, there was conversion, any specific saying or a mnemonic to help you remember this? Anybody remember what it was?
King Henry doesn't like, mind, or get drinking chocolate milk.
Okay, King Henry doesn't like, mind, or get drinking chocolate milk is one of them. Absolutely. So K is my,
K.
or what does K represent? Kilo. H is my gram in this case. Really beautiful. All right. So nice and easy. 312 grams is how many kilograms? 312 grams is how many kilograms?
0.312.
0.312 or 0 and 312 thousandths. 12 centiliters is how many liters?
0.12 liters.
0.12 liters or 0 and 12 hundredths of a liter. 3 days is how many hours? 3 days is how many hours? All right, so a little different here.
72.
72. How'd you get 72?
Because there's 24 hours in a day, and so then you multiply that by 3.
Excellent. 24 hours in a day, multiplying by 3. All right, so very basic. Now let's step it up a notch. Here's our first example. A grizzly bear can run 30 miles in 1 hour. How many feet is this per second? So a grizzly bear can run 30 miles in 1 hour. Okay, so there's my first fraction equation. 30 miles per 1 hour. What I need to know is two different things, two different unit conversions. The question says how many feet per second? So I'm converting my miles to my feet, and I'm converting my seconds to my hours. How many miles in a foot?
It's 5,280.
Okay, so 1 mile is 5,280 feet. And then hours to seconds, how many seconds in an hour? How many seconds in an hour?
60.
Close. 60 seconds in a minute.
3,600.
3,600. So 1 hour is 3,600 seconds. All right, so there's two different conversions here. Since I have two different conversions, in order to get to my final outcome, which is going to be in feet per second. Okay, that's my final unit that I want. Feet per second. I have miles per hour. My first conversion is 1 mile equals 5,280 feet. I'm going to multiply this by two fractions since I have two different conversions. Here's my choices. I have 1 mile and 5,280 feet. With this first fraction, with this first conversion, I can either put my 5,280 feet here and my miles here, or reverse. I can put my miles in my numerator and my 5,280 feet in my denominator. In my final answer, is there anything that says miles?
No.
Okay, so there's nothing that says miles in my final answer. So I want to set this fraction up so my miles and my hours can simplify. Where would my miles and where would my miles simplify? With my 1 mile in my numerator or with my 1 mile in my denominator?
1 mile in the numerator.
So if I put 1 mile in the numerator, can I simplify to miles and miles?
Oh, no.
No, where would the mile have to be? In my denominator. All right, so here's my 1 mile in my denominator. Now, with my miles in my numerator and my miles in my denominator, those miles will simplify. So I just eliminated that unit. What unit is left on top? Feet. All right, what's in my final answer? Feet. All right, so far so good. Now I have 1 hour. Again, my choices are, where do I put this hour? Or my options are, where do I put this 1 hour? And where do I put this 3,600 seconds? 1 hour in the numerator, 1 hour in the denominator, or 3,600 in the numerator, 1 hour in my denominator. 1 hour in the denominator. So then would I be able to simplify these?
Oh wait, never mind.
Opposite way around. 1 hour in my numerator, because now if I have hours in my denominator here and hours in my numerator, now I can simplify those. So now what am I left with? I'm left with 30 times 5,280, and my units are just feet. In my denominator, I'm left with 1 times 3,600, or just times 3,600. And if we have a calculator, that will be very handy. And we should get an answer here of 44 feet per second. So our next example, 20 miles per hour equals how many feet per minute? 20 miles per hour equals how many feet per minute? Again, I'm going from miles to feet, one conversion, and I'm going from hours to minutes, so I have two conversions. My first conversion, miles and feet. 1 mile is equal to how many feet again?
5,280.
5,280 feet. There's one conversion. My second conversion is 1 hour is equal to how many minutes?
60 minutes.
60 minutes. Beautiful. All right. So I'm going to start with my first here. 20 miles per hour. There's my first fraction. 20 miles, I'm going to abbreviate, over 1 hour. I have two conversions, so I'm going to multiply again by two fractions. And this should end me with feet per minute. My first fraction, if I want to simplify my miles, what should be the first fraction that I multiply by? 1 mile over 5,280 feet, or 5,280 feet over 1 mile? Yes.
5,280 feet.
Okay, so 5,280 feet over 1 mile. Now my units will simplify. My miles and my miles simplify here. There's no miles in my final answer, so I wanted it to simplify. My second fraction, 1 hour equals 60 minutes. How should I create this fraction? What should go in my numerator? What should go in my denominator?
1 hour should go on top.
In my numerator, so 1 hour in my numerator, 60 minutes in my denominator. Excellent. And now my hours simplify. So I'm going to say my hours, and my hours now simplify. Leaving me with just, so what are my units left on my numerator? The only units left are feet, which is there's feet in my final answer. What units are left in my denominator? The only unit left is my minutes, and my minutes are left in my final answer. All right, so now I should get all the units I want. So now, what numbers am I left with? I have 20 times 5,280 times 1 over 1 times 1 times 60. And if I do the math here, I should get an answer of what?
1,760 feet.
1,760 feet per minute. Next example. 16 centimeters per second equals how many meters per hour? 16 centimeters per second equals how many meters per hour? So again, my two conversions, centimeters to meter, seconds to hours. First conversions. What's the relationship between centimeters and meters? 1 meter is equal to how many centimeters? 100 centimeters. Excellent. My second conversion. 1 hour is equal to how many seconds?
60.
Close.
Oh, what? Oops, 360.
3,600 seconds. Okay. My first fraction, 16 centimeters over 1 second. Times, again, I'm multiplying by two separate fractions because I have two different conversions. And my final answer should be in miles per hour. What is my first fraction here? You choose. Either your first conversion or your second conversion. What's my first fraction here? What can I put down?
1 meter.
1 meter over, good, 1 meter over 100 centimeters. This will allow my centimeters to simplify. What's my next fraction? My hours and seconds. 3,600 seconds over 1 hour. Very good. And then this will allow my seconds to simplify, leaving me with just the numbers of 16 times 1 times 3,600 over 1 times 100 times 1. And I get an answer of, my zeros here can simplify, so 16 times 36. He'll give me an answer on this one.
576.
576 miles per hour, or mph. Your choice. All right, so 4.5 quarts per minute equals how many gallons per hour? So my first conversion is quarts and gallons. 1 gallon is equal to 4 quarts. Very good. Minutes to hours. 1 hour is equal to 60 minutes. Nice and easy. My first fraction, 4.5 quarts per 1 minute, times my first fraction times my second conversion equals, my final answer should be in gallons per hour. All right, my first fraction, gallons and quarts. What's in my numerator? What's in my denominator? Gallons and quarts. 1 gallon equals 4 quarts.
Gallon. The 1 gallon is on the top. Is on
1 gallon in my numerator, 4 quarts in my denominator. That simplifies my quarts. Second conversion, 1 hour, 60 minutes.
60 minutes over 1 hour.
60 minutes over 1 hour. That simplifies my minutes, leaving me with 4.5 times 1 times 60 over 1 times 4 times 1. And if you do the math here, you should get an answer of what?
67.5 gallons per hour.
67.5 gallons per hour. Very nice. Okay, let's change it up a little bit. A little harder. 12 yards cubed equals how many feet cubed? Or 12 cubic yards equals how many cubic feet? My first conversion. Feet and yards.
1 yard is 3 feet.
Very nice. 1 yard is equal to 3 feet. How many dimensions am I talking about here?
3.
3 dimensions. So follow me on this one. Everybody draw yourself a cube. Okay, nice easy way to draw a cube. 2 squares. And then connect your lines. So 12 cubic yards equals how many cubic feet? 1 cubic yard is equal to how many cubic feet? Well, 1 cubic yard means I have 1 yard times 1 yard times 1 yard, right? Multiply my length, my width, and my height. So that's 1 times 1 times 1. Yards times yards times yards is it's cubic yards. But we just said that 1 yard is equal to how many feet?
3, so you did 3 times 3.
So let's put, instead of 1 yard, let's put 3 feet times 3 feet times 3 feet. So 1 cubic yard is equal to 1 yard times 1 yard times 1 yard, which is equivalent to 3 feet times 3 feet times 3 feet. 3 times 3 times 3 is 3 times 3 is 9, times 3 is
27.
27, and feet times feet times feet is feet cubed. So 1 cubic yard is equal to 27 cubic feet. You have 12 of these cubic yards. So now what? How do I know how many cubic feet are in 12 cubic yards? What's my next one?
27 times 12.
Yeah, so now you can just simplify. Now you can just multiply. 27 times 12, and you should get an answer of 324 cubic feet. All right, so 25 hundredths of meters cubed equals how many centimeters cubed? First question, 1 meter is equal to how many centimeters? 100 centimeters. We're talking about a cubic, so I'm going to draw my shape again. I'm going to draw my cube here. Again, this is just a nice visual. So we got 1 meter times 1 meter times 1 meter is 1 meter cubed. Let's get rid of these. You just said these 1 meters is equal to 100 centimeters. So it's the same thing as saying 100 centimeters times 100 centimeters times 100 centimeters. Bless you. So 1 meter cubed is equal to how many centimeters cubed? Yep.
1 million.
1 million centimeters cubed. So 100 times 100 times 100 is 1 million centimeters cubed. 1 meter cubed is equal to 1 million centimeters cubed. A quarter of a meter cubed. Okay, so looking at this, a quarter of a meter cubed. So I don't have a full meter, do I? I only have a quarter of this meter cubed. So should my answer be less than a million or greater than a million?
Less.
So it should be less than a million. How do I get a quarter of a million? Okay.
Divide by
Divide by 4 or multiply 1 million by a quarter or divide by 4, either one. So times 0.25, and you should get an answer of
25,000.
close
250,000.
250,000 centimeters cubed. All right, so our last example, 6.5 grams equals per centimeter squared equals how many milligrams per millimeter squared? So grams to milligrams. 1 gram is equal to
1,000 milligrams.
1,000?
Yeah.
1,000 milligrams. 1 centimeter squared. All right, so if I'm looking at a diagram, this is only 2-dimensional now. So 1 centimeter times 1 centimeter is equal to 1 centimeter squared. But 1 centimeter, what's the conversion from 1 centimeter to 1 millimeter? Oh, I'm sorry, centimeters to millimeters. How many millimeters in 1 centimeter?
10 millimeters and 1 centimeter.
So 1 centimeter to 10 millimeters or 10 millimeters to 1 centimeter. So this is the same thing as saying 10 millimeters times 10 millimeters. So 1 centimeter squared is equal to 100 millimeters squared. All right, so here's my conversion. 6.5 grams per 1 centimeter squared times my 2 conversions. 1 gram equals 1,000 milligrams. Grams in my numerator, I want grams in my denominator. 1,000 milligrams. 1 centimeter squared in my denominator, I want 1 centimeter squared in my numerator, leaving me with 100 millimeters squared in my denominator. Centimeters, simplify. Grams, simplify, leaving me with 6.5 times 1,000 over 100. Without any calculator, my 2 zeros go away here, leaving me with 6.5 times 10, so leaving me with 65 milligrams per millimeter squared.